Cubetuber.
Hello, my duders. I'm the Cubetuber. All right, it's another day, and we got another cube. This time we got a quite a popular cube. On Cube Cobra, we can see it has 117 followers, so it's quite a bit of eyes looking at this one. It is the Eternal Cube by our boy Matt from Cubefortwo. So Matt runs a YouTube channel called Cubefortwo, which he makes a bunch of videos about Cube, covering like what kind of cards you should put in your cube, or just different ways to think about Cube. He posts quite regularly. I think he had that channel for maybe a year now. I just recently started following it, but man, there's a lot of really good stuff on there. I highly recommend it. He also has a podcast with his wife, I think, titled Cubefortwo as well. I found it in like the Apple podcast app, so it's definitely on there. I think it's on all the other big platforms. So yeah, it's a podcast where him and his wife kind of talk about Magic and their cubing experience. So it's pretty cool dynamic. I don't think I've ever heard of a husband-wife duo talking about Magic, so that's a pretty interesting thing going on there. So definitely make sure to check out their projects. So let's take a look here at the Eternal Cube. So a lot of people who are into Cube will kind of have one of their own personal cube. It's kind of, whether it be like their powered cube or where they put all their good stuff. It's kind of their main staple. It's like their meat and potato cube that if their friends come over and they want to have a fun time, they whip that cube out. And that's what this seems like for Cubefortwo. So this is kind of his go-to cube, I would imagine. And if we look at it, it's a 116 vintage cube, 116 cards. So that's an interesting number that sticks out. There may be some reason there for that. I don't know. I've never seen anything in his YouTube videos about that, but interesting enough. This is an underpowered cube, so there's no Power 9 in there or anything like that. There's still a lot of really cool stuff in here, though, that are kind of semi-broken, high-powered stuff that you'd want to see in a powerful cube. So there's a lot of great stuff in here. Let's kind of go over this description real quick. So this cube has been a project of mine for some time now. I've dedicated a budget allotment for each month. This is why you may notice some slightly suboptimal cards here and there, though I'm constantly working on it. Cards are supposed to be foiled, signed, or altered in order to make the cube. Wow. Foiled, signed, or altered to make the cube. I think that's a really interesting approach. Like, the cards got to be blinged out to make it in the cube. That actually might explain some of the picks in there, because there's some things that kind of stick out as being like, huh, what would you put that in there for? But we'll definitely go into that. So yeah, there are some exceptions to that rule there. All right. So as writing, I have trimmed the gold sections down to 5 per guild. I think you even cut it down to 4. We'll look. So they're still a little high. The gold section should roughly be 10 to 12% of a cube. However, I'm at 12.2. 12.2. The 0.2 I think can be forgiven, but since I think he cut it even more, it's probably below that. However, this drastically improves the draft sessions. Also, I have begun using a hypergeometric calculator to help ensure consistency. For example, you need 7 1-drops in your aggro deck to have a 77% chance of seeing one in your opener. So if I have 24 1-drops in the cube's aggro colors, so that would be like Boros, Rakdos, Red, maybe even some other colors as well, then there is a 97% chance that 18 or more will be available in a given draft pool that would support at least 2 aggro decks in a pod. So This I think is quite interesting about his cube is that he kind of uses a hypogeometric calculator and kind of uses probability of seeing cards in a given amount of a pool to kind of figure out what type of archetypes would work and what cards in an archetype would be supported, and not necessarily just aggro cards. I mean, you could do this with control cards, mid-range cards, and just kind of like evenly distribute it out so that players have higher percent of seeing the type of archetype that they would want to see. So I think those are like the three big archetypes that we usually think of are aggro, mid-range, and control. So I think thinking in that type of way to get those broad stripes, those broad streaks are quite good. I kind of have my own opinion about this. I know, Cultic Cube and Cubefortwo, they talk a lot about thinking about probability when building their cube and the chances of seeing a certain card. I think it's certainly interesting. One, I'm not that good at math to kind of look at it that way. I know I probably should be, and if I really deeply cared about it, I would make the effort to do it. But whenever I'm building my cubes, or even I'm building my decks or adding my mana base to decks or drafting, I go by a lot of feel. I kind of count it out and be like, that sounds about right. I'm not too calculated in my approach there. There are definitely some drawbacks to that, but I think there's definitely a value to having a feel for your cube, your deck, or your drafting. Okay, let's keep going here. So in the Eternal Cube, there's some monocolor support. Say normally it gets 1 to 2 monocolor decks, usually mono green, mono red. Also, White Weenie tends to splash some burn. But yeah, the mono ones are aggro White Weenies, blue is tempo, black has aggro, red has aggro. Green is mid-range and ramp. That's if you're going, I guess, with a mono approach. And then there are the guilds. I'm not going to go too much over these. If you guys are interested, make sure to check the description to go into the guilds here. But there are a lot of the things you would typically think, like Azorus' control, Demir's control, reanimator, and artifacts. So the shards are quite interesting. This one I probably would put a bit more attention into with the shard colors. But we're not going to jump into that too much. All right, let's take a look at the list here. All right, so for each color we have 58 cards. Let's take a look here for white, for blue, black. Multicolored, yep, I was right. Matt made sure to cut one of each guild. So there's 4 of each guild, which is good. Let me just kind of briefly go over these, talk about anything that stands out. Looks like there is 1 planeswalker per guild, which is great to see. I like seeing those consistencies, like those type of things. I don't know if that's a mental thing or making sure it's actually playable, but like being like, okay, each guild has a planeswalker. Ooh, Bulgaria has 2. I don't know if it's necessarily important though, but like, see, Simic doesn't. Oh no, Simic has Oko, a very important one to have. So I don't know how much we should really rely on having everything be balanced out evenly. You know, you kind of have to pick your cube on how best you think it's going to be drafted. And the only 3-color card is Nicole Balas, the Ravager. Interesting. That's the one that came out in M19 that starts out as a creature, then flips over to be a planeswalker. I think that's a really cool card. Never played with it, but I definitely like that art. All right. So, let's jump into this here. So for each color kind of fulfills the archetype that it's trying to do, I believe. Nothing stands out too crazy here. I mean, notice in white we have Stoneforge Mystic with some that can search out like Batter Skull and stuff like that. Yeah, we have Deceiver Exart and Pestermite for Splinter Twin Kiki combos. Sour Temptation. We have lots of pretty good stuff. So let's look at some of the fatties that we have. That's what I should be looking at, because a lot of this stuff is what we would kind of expect. There's a lot of Planeswalkers too for each color. I mean, white has 6 Planeswalkers. All of these kind of being pretty aggressive ones to support White Weenus and Boros. Blue's got your Jace and Will, Kenrith. Black's got the Lilies. Red's got 4. This one's pretty interesting. Green's got 3 Garriks. Nissa, Who Shakes the World, pretty good one. And Vivian, awesome. Okay. All right, let's go back to what I was saying. We were looking at the fatties here. So what are some of the top heavy cards that each color can kind of support? So these are cards that you would either want to maybe sneak attack out, reanimate in, ramp to, or just try to get in faster before your opponent can kind of deal with. So we have in white we have Elish Norn. Yeah, I mean, there's not much I can really say about this guy except for play it. A few of the angels, but these are the 5-drop angels. What is that? Archangel Athun, the lifelink duder. I'll have to make sure he gets put up there. I do like that card, but that one also can kind of be a predictable gameplay. We have Waker of Waves for the blue heavy, the blue fatty. This one I quite like, just because it's kind of breaks from what you would, like Consecrated Sphinx or Jingataxis or anything, cards like that. Also, making their creatures smaller. Torrential Gearhawks. All right, Black's got Grizzlebrand, the perfect reanimator target, in my opinion. Also, if you can sneak that bad boy out, getting that 7 swing lifelink that you can draw 7 cards on is always nice. Gearhawks and Titans. Inferno Titan. Let's take a look at green. So green, we got Carnage Tyrant. I've never played with this one. This one's quite interesting. The Hexproof really, I think, can bring the best out of this card. Make it pretty hard to deal with. People have a hard time dealing with Hexproof. Horned Hydra, I'm not too sure about that one. This one, what is that? Voracious Hydra. This one I think would be a great one to sink mana in, especially if you have a bunch of your mana dorks, the small elves that we have at the bottom of the green curve. That one would be a great one to sink mana into, because you can double its counters and do all kinds of fun stuff with. There we go. Hornet Queen, always a great one. Endrazer Forerunner. Interesting stuff. Yeah, Vigilance, Trample, Haste. When it enters the battlefield, other creatures you control get +2/+2. So it's kind of, and they get Vigilance and Trample. That's pretty nice. Interesting. And then the Godzilla card, Titanoth. What is that one? Titanoth Rex. So this one has Cycle, and this one's really nice because it's an 11/11 Trampler if you cast it for 9, but you can cycle it to draw a card and then put a trample counter on a creature you control. So I like that Matt went with these kind of top cards. End Razor Forerunner is really interesting because normally at the top of the curve you would see a card like Craterhoof Behemoth, right? That's usually what we think of as like an 8 mana finisher, and yeah, they're both the same amount, but this guy does almost what that Craterhoof Behemoth does, but better. I mean, I'm not sure if there's a price issue there or not, but that End Raise Forerunner is pretty good. I mean, that's the next best thing to Craterhoof Behemoth in my opinion, and in some situations may even be better. Given creature's vigilance too, so you don't have to worry about, I don't know, any type of fog effect or crackback that could screw you over, because that is one of the downside of Craterhoof Behemoth. If they manage somehow to survive it, the crackbacks could be bad. But yet again, people have a hard time coming back from a Behemoth. And also like the Godzilla card, like normally I'd expect to see cards like Terracodon. Even Terracodon's a bit cheaper than that and does kind of more things, but yet again, I think the Godzilla's makes it kind of... That Godzilla card's really great though with that cycling, and it gives something else trample. Yeah, it's pretty cool stuff. There's other cards here that kind of stick out in my mind. Like Matt said in the description, there are these kind of suboptimal cards that you're kind of like, oh, what are they doing there? Like Heir of Falconwrath. Yeah, when I saw this, I'm like, you know, there's a lot of these like super powered cards, like Heir of Falconwrath. Like, what are you doing in the same pack to like, I mean, in the same pool as like Reanimate and what else? Recurring Nightmare and Sneak Attack and Splinter Twin and Jace the Mind Sculptor, and you know, what are you doing in there? The one thing about this card is it can actually be kind of a what is it? A Reanimator. It can kind of set up Reanimator for discarding a card to transfer it. Normally in other cubes or vintage style cubes that are trying to run that archetype, you'd see a Putrid Imp. But in this one, I guess it kind of works because then it does what you want it to do by discarding a card and then flips into a 3/2 flyer, which is definitely better than having a 2/1. And then other cards that stood out to me as being, I hate to say suboptimal, but maybe not, what is that? Not max optimal. Yeah, I don't know how I could phrase that in a way. What is that? Max optimal leaning or whatever. Wolfie Avenger. I quite like this card personally. I remember drafting it and liking this when this came out. This kind of acts as like a troll aesthetic with Regenerate. Maybe it's better for its flash and it has a little bit better toughness, but it kind of does that same purpose. You know, that's the great thing about cubes, is that especially when we look at people's individual powered cubes that they kind of use as their staple cube, you see a lot of difference in their, like, what someone appreciates, say, than someone else. Personally, I like Wolfie Avenger. Like, if I see that in a pack, I'm like, ooh, if I'm going green, that's something I might want to pick. Yeah, also, Warkite Marauder is an interesting one to pick. All right, let's keep moving on. All right, so what other things stand out in this cube? So like in the description, Matt said that there's a lot of aggro support. So in white, black, and red, so white, black, and red, we have Kythian. What else we have for aggro that kind of stand out? Student of Warfare, always a great 1-drop that gets bigger. Precinct Captain I always like. Anything that kind of makes duders that help block and do different things on the battlefield are good. The double white, I'm never too excited about. Thalia, I guess Thalia would be good, especially if you're doing white weenie. I never mess with this Thalia. I always preferred the 3-drop one that has, right here, Thalia, Heretics, Cathar. I'd always prefer this one put as to the 2-mana one. I mean, I guess I would play both, but we have Blade Splicer, which I guess could be considered aggro because you're getting 4 power out of 3. And then, of course, Brimaz, which is a really kind of flexible, even borderline mid-range card. Let's take a look at some of the black aggro ones. Bloodsoaked Champion, awesome stuff. We have Gravecrawler, Dreadwarden, whoops. This one I quite like. I need to get this card for my 1-drop cube. My 1-drop cube is quite heavy in black creatures. There's a lot of great black creatures that are 1-drops, but I think this is a great one. I think if this one goes unanswered, it could be a big problem. Excuse me. Bloodgas is a good aggro card that also has a lot of recurrence. And then basically anything after 3 drops would be interesting one. The Spawn of Mayhem is an interesting card. I don't know if that would be I guess that wouldn't be aggro, but still I think that's a very interesting card to have out. It kind of, I think, speeds the game up in a way. Alright. And then red, we have what is that? Bromat Courier. Fervent Champion. I think this one's super interesting. Just kind of being able to throw equipments on it for super cheap. Let me take a look at the equipments over here that they have. So we got Jitte, Grafted Ward Gear. I'm quite high on this card right now. I forget, maybe it was Cubefortwo's video, or no, Celtics, Cultic Cube, where he was doing the analysis of his cubes that he got back from Wizard. He was saying how not many people are high on this card, but really for what it does, it's great. And then Batter Skull. So there's a few things. There's a few. Oh yeah, and then Bone Splitter. Yep. Okay. There's a few Skull Clamp. All right. So other aggro cards. Fervent Champion though, I quite like having that first strike and then being able to throw things on it that make it bigger, and then also it boosts up all your knights. Goblin Guide, which is the quintessential red aggro card. Grimlavamancer, Monastery Swiftspear, Zergo Bellstraker, and Village Messenger. Interesting that he didn't go with the other flip card from the original Innistrad. I think it's Reckless Waif. I think this one is probably better though. Reckless Waif is good, but having that ability to use Menace is just brutal. Alright. Also, there are a lot of open-ended red cards. So for the red deck wins, there are a bunch of cards that you typically expect to see, like Shrine of Burning Rage, these kind of like big heavy finishers. What is it, the 4-mana one that Fiery Confluence, that's what I was thinking of. But there's like all of these kind of better red spells that you would think of for red deck wins. Matt kind of chooses to go with these open-ended red spells that deal like 3 damage to any target. He kind of explains his thought process behind this in a video that he does about parasitic cards, that kind of push players into like one type of archetype. So in this, he plays cards like Incinerate, Lightning Strike, Searing Sphere, Incendiary Flow, and Volcanic Hammer. All of these cards kind of basically doing the same thing, being able to pay 1 and a red to deal 3 damage to anything on the board. This is great for other archetypes that, you know, maybe you're playing blue-red. You can splash this in. It's probably better to play one of these than maybe a card that's you know, that's so narrow, like what is it? What is that? Siege Gang? What is that? Bogart and Siege Gang or something? Something that's really committed to kind of red and just solely dealing damage in a certain way. So that's a very interesting thing to notice about this. All right, let's take a look at the lands here and the mana. So Matt's running 3 of the Talisman. Notice they're the blue ones, I think, because he says that not many people play mono blue. Blue is kind of like a support color. Like a lot of people will try to pick blue highly because there's a lot of great cards in blue, and then play other colors around it. So I think that helps support it. We don't see any signets here. He's playing lands that we would typically expect to see, the sack lands, shock lands, and then dual lands. But if we go down here, we have City of Brass, so the Pain lands, City of Brass, Mana Confluence, and also Grand Coliseum. I did not even know about this card. I wonder if this is a pricey one. Whoops. Let me make sure we can see that. So Grand Coliseum kind of acts like a City of Brass. It comes into play tap, but being able to tap for any color and deal 1 damage is great, and also having the option to get generic mana is awesome. Prismatic Vista, so yeah, awesome, great stuff here. Oh, also I forgot, Show and Tell, another way to get those fatties out, Show and Tell. Alright, I guess we're at the part of the video where I'll do playtest. Alright, let's do a quick playtest and see how this cube drafts out. I don't know if I'm going to go with any specific archetype, maybe just pick good lands for the first pack. So for first pack we have a Tundra here, which is pretty nice. Sour Temptation, Inferno Titan, these are all things that stick out. Condemn, interesting. This guy, Kara Zeev, Monastery Mentor. Ooh, maybe go blue-white and try to see if the Mentor wheels around. I doubt it would, but maybe the Mentor or Condemn will, or even Remand, or Sour. So yeah, maybe Sour of Temptation. Sour of Temptation. Sour. I'm always messing cards up. It's a thing I do. So let's get the Tundra here. Alright, so we have Gideon, ally of Zendikar, which is pretty nice. I think that would be good to go if you go in blue-white and then just try to get planeswalkers and control stuff. Yeah, I think that would be what we'll do. We'll do Gideon. We have Badlands. I don't know if we want to pick Badlands. What's Finale of Glory? So this one's a sorcery. Create 2/2 soldier tokens with vigilance. 10 or more. Also, wow. Also created that. So if you pay 10 or more, you'll get at least 10 4/4s along with 10 2/2s. That's interesting. That's kind of better than like the White Sun Zenith stuff that I'm typically used to seeing in cubes. I do like that. but probably Angel of Sanctions would probably be the one to go with, because that has more. Also, Mana War would be good to wheel around, but we're going to go with the Angel here. So, pretty heavy white at the moment. Giant Killers, not bad. Black, if we were doing black, we'd do Shriek Maw. Lingering Souls. Lingering Souls might be good. I think Lingering Souls, and then maybe splashing some black. Let's do Lingering Souls. Alright. Dream Eater. This one's not too bad. I'm not too high on Dream Eater for 6 mana. I mean, doing the Surveil 4 and then bounce something back for 6 mana flash, and making a 4/3 is not bad, but it's not super exciting. I don't know if it's groundbreaking. I think the Hieroglyphic Illumination probably would be better in this regard. Alright. I think Baleful Strix would be better. I like, what is that, Baron? Tolarian Archmage. I think he's super nice. Yeah, I don't know. Oof. Let's go. I don't think these guys are going to go around if I do. Someone's going to pick it. So I think we're going to pick Baron. So I'm not even sure we're going to commit to black yet. I probably should have picked Baleful Strix. Let's pick Pestermite. Just for blue. Brimaz is pretty good. Or Spell Queller. I think this will be good just to use as a counter spell though. For the early games. Good. Condemn wheeled around. Boon of the Wishgiver. Not bad. 6 mana, draw 4 cards, and you can just cycle it for 1. I think that's better than Westville Abbey, because I don't think I'm going to try to get tokens out, so. This thing, this probably would be good. Finale of Glory is really nice, but I think I can have some good finishers that are probably going to be better than this, because I don't want to do that unless I'm going to be trying to finish an opponent. So I think this one would slow down aggro decks, and it has flying. Let's pick Giant Killer. And Autumn. This, yep, didn't get the Strix, did not wheel. Okay, so we got Day Judgment, Avacyn, Force of Will. We have enough blue cards to make Force of Will a thing, because Force of Willing something is quite good. Also, Vendilion Craving something is good. Mana Leak's nice. I think maybe Force of Will be the way to go. Alright, and then we have Memory Lapse. I do like Memory Lapse, but I don't think it would be good to pick right now. I would rather have some cantrips like Opt. I don't know, I forgot to look if this cube has like Preordained Brainstorms. I think I did see Brainstorms. I don't know about like Preordain and Ponder. So let's pick this Opt. Whoa, look at all these dual lands. Taiga and the Bayou. So, Phyrexian Metamorph with the cool borderless art. Wall of Omens is really awesome. Let's pick Phyrexian Metamorph. Do we want to try to get a little bit of black in there? Yeah, maybe a Godless Shrine just to Ooh, also Phantasmal Image. I kind of would rather have the Phantasmal Image, and also Bitter Blossom's nice. Let's pick the Godless Shrine, so then we could play the Lingering Souls. Alright. We have an Armageddon. Phyrexian Revoker. Let's do Phyrexian Revoker. Oh, I probably should pick the Batterskull. I just saw that at the last moment. That always happens. I get too high on myself. We'll do the Sensei's Divining Top. Probably need fetch lands though. Let's see, I'll just pick the fetch land. If I see any fetch lands, I'll try to grab them. So we're going to now take the O-Ring Clone. Alright, chart a course in this regard. Now we're just picking colors. Alright, so I think Day of Judgment is the way to go. I'm not too high on Avacyn Archangel. Heartless Act. Let's do Secure the Waste. Wall of Omens, we'll pick Wall. We'll pick this. Prison Realm. Let's go Elvish Norn. I doubt we're gonna try to cast her. We'll get Blast Zone then. It's a control-y land, but I don't know if we would play it. Rashad Port and Stoneforge Mystic Sea. Should have got that Batterskull. Yeah. So sad. So disappointed in myself. Alright. So if we're going black, which I don't think we really want to do, because really we maybe just play the Godless Shrine for the Lingering Souls. Rashad Port probably is the one to go with. Alright, Elspeth Sun's Champion. Dig Through Time's really good, but Elspeth Sun's Champion's probably the way to go. Okay. Ooh. Scrubland. Definitely get the Scrubland. Alright, if I get the Scrubland, that means I can, wow, Show and Tell. So what creatures do we have? We have Elvish Norn, so I could try to Show and Tell that. And then there's also Torrential Gearhawk. But what are we looking at for instants? There's a few instants. Let's get the Torrential Gearhawk. Yeah, that pack's really good. Alright, let's look at Will Kenrith. It's not bad. I think Will Kenrith or Maze of Ith are probably the way to go. Maybe Cloudskin Seer is probably the one I'd pick if it goes around, and also getting into Trials is really good. So let's pick. Oh, there's Wrath of God too. Jeez, so many good cards. All right, I think. Yeah, let's pick Wrath of God. Then we have our removal spells taken care of. Well, Council's Judgment. I don't think there's going to be much blue. I'm going to be picking more white now. Yep. When you draw a card, you may pay. That one's not bad. You can get bigger. Ugh, the double blue though. There's a lot of double blue going on. Like Baron, Torrential Gearhawk. Let's pick him and just see what's up. Voracious Shark. I do like this one. This card's quite interesting. I never played with it. I don't know how good it is. People seem quite high on it. I see it in a lot of cubes. So let's pick this one and see. I never actually had a chance to play it, but I'm pretty sure, like if I cast it, encounter something, and then I have a 5/4 left over, I'm pretty sure that's a pretty good feeling. Alright, nothing there. Let's pick God Eternal. Yeah, we're getting to the bottom of the barrel here. Maybe Zombify in case you wanted to splash that in. Kitchen Fame. Ah, I should have picked the Mystic. Alright, getting the trials. Ransack the lab. Yep. Alright, this one. Okay. So, hey, there it comes. Alright. So this is my sample draft here. There's some fun stuff. Not too many blues, so that would make me probably nervous to play Force of Will. Instead of doing the counter game, maybe just mess around with some blue spells and mainly try to get there with white. Alright, I think that's going to wrap up my video here. So final thoughts here about the Eternal Cube for Cubefortwo. Pretty interesting cube. I just kind of wanted to highlight it and look at it. I think it's really interesting stuff. The one good thing about Matt's cube is that he regularly maintains this cube. Like, he's always taking cards out and adding cards in. So, you know, props to that. Matt, thank you very much for designing this cube. I'll see you guys next time. Thank you for watching this video. Make sure to like, subscribe, and comment. Okay, guys? See ya!